Hi everyone, sorry for the delay in getting this to you. I have just put together a short presentation just to show you, just to answer some questions really, and hopefully just demonstrate how we'd move forward and how introducing AdWords into this will bring some different elements that we can focus on. And I think demonstrating that, as you can imagine, if you AdWords used correctly combined with SEO is really the best way to get traffic, because you're picking up things with AdWords that you wouldn't otherwise with SEO, and vice versa. We have a specific initial goal for AdWords is to pick up sort of trade key terms as opposed to the more layman's search terms. But if I look at SEO going forward, and I'll do an extra bit on hoarding graphics just to see how we could augment that in the short term. The SEO plan going forward will predominantly be more of the same, in that we will be focusing on new areas at the same simultaneously responding to the results we're getting from the work we're doing. So what I mean by that is looking at the document we looked at in April in our meeting, that we're now ranking for, so Tom cut it off at position 65. There were 87 terms that were ranking up to page 6.5 when we started, and we now have 201 terms that are ranking there. So we have over double the amount of terms within that range of ranking positions. As we go forward, that will increase further, just naturally, because we're increasing the domain authority of the site. We're doing more targeted links. So each page, each landing page, or each target page is going to start to be ranking for more and more phrases. And our goal is to rank specifically those pages for intent to buy phrases. So, admittedly, through these, there won't be all terms that we're aiming for, like Kingston University study space. That's obviously come from a case study, but the more work we do on it, the more we're going to be able to target the intent to buy phrases. So, in broad terms, the SEO plan going forward will be to make sure we're moving forward with new areas of focus, at the same time responding to the existing areas of focus and the new phrases that we're being ranked for. In terms of the methods that we do that, will be again more of the same. The fundamentals don't change. We'll be building more relevant backlinks. We'll be building out further Web 2.0 properties. What I mean by that is things like Behance and other profile sites. So there are some other parts we can move on to with a bit more depth, and as we've done already with YouTube videos. But as we get more properties out there, then some of the linking capabilities become more amplified, because we're able to link multiple properties together, all directing towards the money site. So I don't want to sound too blasé with it, but that really is it. To sort of come up with a new, fresh plan would be misleading, because it's really more of the same. And the more time we get to focus on the site and the phrases, the more likely we're going to be able to direct the traffic in such a way that it's targeted, and we end up ranking more keywords per page for the services that we're trying to sell effectively. In light of that, if I show you something maybe around hoarding graphics, that might lead on to showing you some other methods that could be, we might have specific areas of the business where we really want to try and dominate the pages, or pick up traffic that we otherwise wouldn't have. So here's an example. So if I have a quick, so with hoarding graphics, there we go. Sorry, so I put in hoarding printers, for example. Now, I just wanted to notice something here, which is very obvious to me as an SEOer, but it's something you might want to consider. And I found an example where I think they're doing it how Presson could do it. Notice in here, oh, excuse me, I've got the wrong page. I'm just going to pause that. That wasn't the correct search term. One sec. Okay, so sorry. So the term printed hoarding has 70. It's a 70 total here for that per month. I just wanted to notice something here, that the two top results, forgetting the AdWords for a minute, even though it's the same and they're doing that approach, both have hoarding in the domain. This is hoarding printing. Press on is down here fourth, and as above service graphics. Now, their metrics as a site, I'm pretty sure, are much lower than Press On and service graphics, but they're managing to rank. The main reason is that they've gone and bought that domain. Now, yeah, I could in suggesting this approach, which is effectively called exact match domains, where you buy a domain for the key phrase and you really just targeting keywords around that. It can seem a little misleading, but something I've noticed these guys are doing, which I think is just a suggestion that you may be interested in, because we could do a very simple site for it. They've started this one, which is ranking well, so hoardingprinting.com/hoarding, and they put from spiral print. So we could do something similar for areas that we really want to target, and what that would mean is that we can then start occupying 2 slots in the search, in the SERP, the search engine results page here. So we have Press On, but then it would be hoarding printers from presson.com or .co.uk. I had a quick look at the available domains. Hoardingprinters.net would be available. So as you'll notice, it doesn't. The site they've done isn't fantastic, but if it's really just around one subject and it's more of an information site, just maybe with a few case studies and some images, it wouldn't necessarily have to be that great. It's more of just a sales page, really, which is what these guys have done here. Get a hoarding quote today. So I appreciate that's not a very quick solution, because we'll have to put that together, but it could be a way forward of creating what then they would be called lead magnets, so that we come up with I would suggest we come up with a template for these sites that we think are attractive, that are within the Press On sort of brand identity, but we can create maybe 5 or 6 of these for the key areas of focus, so that we've now got 2 slots that we're occupying in the SERP, in the search engine results page, and would allow us to pick up more traffic and interlink the site. So I think that would be taking stage of things a bit further, and yes, there'll be a cost to producing those templates, but once the first one's done, then we should be pretty straightforward in how we're going to do the rest. So that would be an initial suggestion. Aside from that, in answering Shelley's question, it's really going to be more of the same, which will be going after the other synonyms in more detail. So looking at, as I had here, creating links around printed hoardings rather than construction site hoardings or construction site graphics. That will happen naturally as we move forward with the SEO plan, because we'll start to pick up the other synonyms. The other being to look more heavily at ranking videos around those phrases as well, and using the existing video and renaming it and reposting it as a different name. So there are some other ways to do that more in the short term, and I would say videos are that. But I think done well, without it being too misleading, and I think that's probably the way to do it, is something like hoardingprinters.net from presson.co.uk or from Presson. Just shows that you're a market leader, or you're an expert in that field, and that's what that site is about. And I think that could work if it's done correctly. And if we get the template done first of all, then we can pretty much cookie cutter them out for different areas of focus. And to a degree, with content, we can use some of the existing content and reword it. I don't think we need to be too particular about that. If we reword it to a degree, then Google won't see it as duplicate content. And if we view it really as a landing page, and we use converting content like videos, good images, then there doesn't need to be a great deal of content on there. We're above 300 words, as long as we've got people who know that they've found a page where they can speak to hoarding graphics expert, then it's job done really. Okay, so looking at the AdWords, I did a couple of hours looking at potential areas of focus for AdWords that, as we mentioned before, that we wouldn't necessarily be creating an SEO strategy around, but we'd like to start picking up business for, i.e. trade key phrases. I've used just some of my own knowledge or looking at the website and finding words for this, but I'm sure we could expand upon it and make it a bit more comprehensive. But the areas that I've looked at initially are large format printing, corrugated printing, flexographic box printing, UV printing, direct media printing, polypropylene banner printing, plexiglass printing. And as you can see here, there is some volume behind them. They're not high volume because they're business to business, which is what I would expect. But there are, from what I've seen, there's plenty of phrases to go after, and I'm sure we could expand once we talk a bit further about it. So on the face of it, I think there is some scope in doing some AdWords for picking up trade business to augment or to, I guess, maximise press-on's printing capabilities. And that would really entail just going further into these phrases and these questions and these different terminologies and technical terminologies, so we could build up the volumes to something more like, potential of 1,000 or 2,000 hits a month. There's 37 phrases. I think the total's around 600 or 700 potential hits a month. I'd like to maybe get up to sort of 2,000 if we go forward with the proposal. In light of that, talking about the proposal, I haven't put a fixed figure together because I think this requires further discussion as to how the process is going to work through from the adverts right through to the landing pages. I think initially, to keep things simple, we could utilise the existing sector's trade machinery page. We have a video here which goes through a lot of things here. So I would rather make this more prominent, really, as a main landing page, as a main video here, looking to rank that again on YouTube for these phrases as well. So we could potentially then have an AdWords listing, a YouTube video, and the main money site. So I think to make things to bring out, take a lot of work out of it in terms of producing more content, I don't think we need to. I think we just need to expand upon this page. You've got your calculator down here as well, so make a bigger deal out of that. So this could just be a good sort of trade-to-trade landing page, which I know it probably is meant for already. But if we're throwing some traffic at it for AdWords, I think it could start to convert to some sales. The reason for me not doing the proposal really is because I think we need to discuss, first of all, sort of come up with the areas that we want to go for, and I need some more input from you guys to make sure I'm on the right track. Going forward and actually creating that definitive list is part of the work, really. For me to go and do that is 3 or 4 days work. So it's not a matter of being able to do that beforehand, but I think what's needed, which I hope I've done here, is to indicate there is definitely scope for it, because from a couple of hours work there's some phrases there, as long as you guys agree that they're intent to buy phrases, or they would potentially lead to people making inquiries. I know you guys have done AdWords before, but once we decide in those areas, then that will mean I know how many adverts we've got to produce. I could then go into research on the competitors' adverts to see what they're doing. I can then look at their offerings as well, and what machinery they have, what prices their sort of rate cards they're putting out, so we can maybe produce similar things. I can then work out sort of the return on investment based upon the cost per click, plus then what the average price per cost of, or an idea of a job price, or if that's UV printing or something else. And then really, what the difference between doing this yourself and then having someone like me manage it is that I will put in, use a lot of the tools within the software, within AdWords, to track and optimize and to head us towards a reduced cost per customer each month, which is really the whole idea of optimization within this. And there's a lot of tools to do that. So that is really what my job initially will be, to work with you guys to come together with a definitive plan, and to make sure that we're targeting the correct terminology. The tracking and optimization is something that we do every month, really, and we take a data that is enough when we have to take data that's significant. So it needs to be over a certain period of time, not every day, probably every 2 weeks, and then we can start to optimize the account. So in summary, I think with AdWords, yes, there's definitely, looks like there's some potential. I think what would probably be best if I could get a chat with Nigel, Shelley, and Andy at some point to just confirm the areas that I'm looking at, and actually then confirm that that is what Press-On would like to offer, and that there's some money in that service, whether it be any of these types of printing, and that way that we're pushing trade to trade business that would be profitable for the business. Not only that there is traffic, but also that it would be desirable jobs, really. Okay, so I hope that's answered some of your questions. Get back to me and let me know what you'd like to do. Take this forward. I'm going to be down in Kent, I think, over the next couple of weeks, so I'm always happy to come in and talk about it further. Okay, see you soon. Bye bye.